Students, welcome to the virtual class of Indian Constitution. So today, let us discuss about Unit 3, Government of Union. So this unit consists of uh, the following topics. President of India is election and powers, Prime Minister and Council of Ministers, Lok Sabha, composition and powers, Rajya Sabha composition and powers. So let us begin with the introduction with regard to the government of India. The Constitution of India provides for the cabinet system designed after the British model. So during the British rule in India, the British practiced parliamentary system of government in India in their rule over India. Therefore, much importance given to the cabinet system of government. And when the Britishers decided to give political freedom to India, and during the framing of the Constitution for independent India, the Constituent Assembly convened a meeting to decide about the government of independent India. So during the Constituent Assembly meeting, there was no unanimity in the Constituent Assembly as to the form of the government the new Indian state should adopt. So many members of the Constituent Assembly suggested many new system of government for independent India. So K.T. Shah and some other members recommended the American presidential system to be adopted for the independent India. But some other members of the Constituent Assembly were in favor of the plural executive of the Swiss model. In American presidential system, the president is the sole executor of all the rules and regulations and the administration of the entire country. So there was no place for any other political organization. Only the president will look after the administration of the entire country. Therefore, some members, including K.T. Shah, suggested American presidential system. But against to this, some members were in favor of the plural executive or Swiss model. So, plural executive means there will be a committee consisting of some members, maybe five or six, like that. So, they share the responsibility of the administration of the whole country. No one is inferior or superior. So all the committee members are equally responsible. So equal powers they enjoy. So that system is practicing in Switzerland. So that system suggested by some members. But the majority favored the cabinet system and it was adopted. So, in support of the opinion of the Constituent Assembly, the Union Government Constitutional Committee, headed by Jawaharlal Nehru, recommended the cabinet system. So, finally, the majority opinion weighed in favor of cabinet system, and it was selected as the ideal system for new Indian state. The government of India, as in the parliamentary type of government, consists of the president and the council of ministers. So, in this cabinet system, first the president, who is the head of the Indian state. So, Article 52 of the Constitution of India provides for the post of the president. According to Article 53 of the Constitution of India, the executive powers of the Union government vested in him, exercised by him directly or through the officials subordinate to him in accordance with the Constitution of India. The President is the Supreme Commander of the armed forces. He is liable to act on the advice of the ministers who are responsible to the Parliament. So we can see the image of the present President of India, Ramnath Kovind. Being the head of the nation, the post of the President is the supreme one in the nation. He is also the chief of the executive and the first citizen of the nation. So all the powers exercised in his name. In actual practice, the President is the titular or nominal head of the executive. The cabinet exercises its powers through the President. Since the President has to exercise his powers on the advice of the cabinet headed by the Prime Minister, so in reality, it is the cabinet which is the supreme one. As Dr. B.R. Ambedkar aptly said, the President is the most prominent man of the nation, but not of the executive. Here, executive means the government. So, he represents the nation, but does not rule it. He is subject to the suggestions and advices given by the cabinet. So, this is the position, status, and role of the President of India. So, he is the most prominent man of India, but not in the government. So he is representing the nation but does not ruling the nation. In his name, the cabinet is running the administration of the union government. So this clearly indicates that the president is the head of the nation and the prime minister is the head of the government. Just what qualifications are essential to become the President of India? So, with regard to this, Indian Constitution has recommended some general qualifications for the aspirants for the post of the President. So, Article 58 of the Constitution has determined some qualifications for the presidential candidates to contest the presidential election. So, as per this article, the qualifications for the candidates to file the nomination papers for the presidential election. The first and foremost qualification is he must be a citizen of India. So, citizenship is one of the important qualifications in India to contest elections. Maybe a presidential election or a Gram Panchayat election. So, whatever may be the system of or method of election, to contest it, citizenship is very important. Second, he should have completed the age of 35 years. So, this is another important qualification, age limit. Who is completed 35 years is eligible to contest presidential election. Third qualification is he must be qualified to be an elected member of the Lok Sabha, but shall not be a member. He must be eligible. Fourth, he should not hold any office of profit under the government of India or any other government, maybe a state government or any local governmental organization. He should not hold any office of profit. First of all, the government employees, those who are desiring to contest for the presidential election, who is holding a government service, they should have to tender a resignation to their service and contest the presidential election. Fifth, he should not be a person of unsound mind, those who are physically, mentally fit. So, such candidates can contest the presidential election. Why? Because the post of the President of India is not a small one. He should represent the nation. He should be the head of the nation. Therefore, he must be a healthy person, should not a person of unsound mind. And he should not be disqualified under any law made by the parliament. So, this means that those who are having the criminal background or the violators of the law are not eligible to contest election. So, however, some offices are not considered as offices of profit, so, such as the office of the President and the Vice President of India. So, the present President, when he completes his term, so he can contest the presidential election for second term. So, again, he contest for election. And Vice President of India is also eligible to contest the presidential election. So, these positions are not considered as the offices of profit. So, one example with regard to this, that Dr. Rajendra Prasad became the President of India for second term. Shri Hamid Ansari became the Vice President of India for second term. So this means that they are eligible to contest elections again. The office of the governors of any state. So those who are having the position of the governors in India, so their offices are not considered as the offices of profit. So they can contest the presidential election. Then ministers of the union government or state governments. So their offices are also not considered the offices of profit. So one example for this is that Shri Pranab Mukherjee, so when he was a finance minister in a Congress-led government, contested the election for the post of the president. So then he was a finance minister in Manmohan Singh's cabinet. So it means that the present ministers of the union government, if they are desiring to contest presidential election, so they can contest the election. So these offices are excluded from the offices of profit. If a member of either House of Parliament or state legislature gets elected as president, he shall be deemed to have vacated his seat in that house on the date on which he enters upon the office as the president. If any union minister elected as the president of India, so when he enter that office of the president, so it is understood that he has tendered resignation to his ministership. If the vice president elected as the president, so when he take oath of office and enter his office, so then he has to, it is understood that he also tendered a resignation to his post. So along with these qualifications, the Presidential Election Act of 1974 provides that each candidate in a presidential election shall deposit a security of rupees 15,000 along with nomination papers, which are to be proposed by 50 members and seconded by 50 other members of the electoral college. So before submitting his candidature in the presidential election, members should propose his name, and 50 other members of the electoral college, those who are the voters in the presidential election. So 50 members of the electoral college should suggest their names as the presidential candidate. So this is another important aspect with regard to the election of the president. Then method of election of the president. How to conduct the election of the president. Article 54 and 55 deals with the method of election of the President of India. So according to Article 54, the President of India is elected through indirect voting. So indirect voting means the election where the people will not elect the president directly. So it is said in our constitution that the president of India is indirectly elected by the people, not directly. The people will not go to the polling station to cast their votes to presidential candidates. Only those who are the representatives of the people will take part in the presidential election. First, the people have to elect their representatives, maybe MLAs or MPs. So, those MLAs and MPs will participate and cast vote to the presidential candidates. So, this is indirect voting or indirect election. The president is elected by a special electoral college. Electoral college means the voters, voters who are eligible to participate in the presidential election. This electoral college consists of the members of both the houses of the parliament. Both houses means members of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. And the members of the Vidhan Sabhas, it means legislative assemblies of all the states. So it means all the MLAs of all the state Vidhan Sabhas are the voters in the presidential election. So this is collectively called as the electoral college. But here one important thing is which we should keep in mind, that only the elected members of these houses are eligible to vote. Only elected members. But we can ask a question, who are the others of the electoral college? The others are, in the Lok Sabha, some Anglo-Indian members are representing the Anglo-Indian community. And in every Vidhan Sabha, one Anglo-Indian member is representing the Anglo-Indian community in the legislative assemblies. So these are not elected members, these are nominated members. The Lok Sabha Anglo-Indian members are nominated by the president to represent them. So in case the Anglo-Indian members are not representing the Lok Sabha or failed in Lok Sabha elections to get elected, then the president nominates not more than two members from Anglo-Indian community to represent the Lok Sabha. So these nominated members, they don't have the voting power to participate in presidential election. And some members who are representing the Rajya Sabha, so those members are to give representation to some fields. The president nominates some members to the Rajya Sabha. Take for example, from the fields of arts, literature, science, social service, sports, culture. So from these fields, the president nominates 12 members to the Rajya Sabha. So these 12 members who are nominated by the president, they have no the voting right. So here we can ask a question, why these nominated members are denied the voting power? Why? Because if the present President Ramnath Kovind, after completion of his 5 years term, if he contest the election for second term, so then those who are nominated by him to Lok Sabha and to Rajya Sabha may cast their votes to Ramnath Kovind only. So this is injustice to the others. Therefore, they are denied the voting right. And some nominated members of Vidhan Sabhas of all the states. So here in Vidhan Sabha, the president will not nominate them. The governors of the states nominate some members to Vidhan Sabha. Take for example in Karnataka state, the Anglo-Indians are the minorities. So to give representation to this community, if they are failed to get elected to Vidhan Sabha, the governor of the respective state or that state nominate not more than one member to the Vidhan Sabha. But he is not nominated by the president but nominated by the governor, denied the voting right. The reason here is that the governor is appointed by the president. So while appointing a governor to the state, the president is to get the advice from the union government. So he should ask the union government before appointing a governor to a state. So when he consults the union government before appointing a governor, the ruling party may suggest of the ruling party only. Take for example Karnataka state. Vajubhaiwala is the present governor of Karnataka state, but he is the active member of the BJP party before appointing as the governor. So the BJP-led union government suggested his name, the president nominated. So if such governor who is nominated by the ruling party, nominated by the ruling party member who is a governor in a state, so he will definitely cast his vote to the BJP party candidate who is supported by the BJP party during the presidential election. Therefore, to avoid this, the nominated members of the Vidhan Sabhas are denied the voting right. Therefore, it is said that only the elected members of Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha and Vidhan Sabha are allowed to vote in the presidential election. The nominated members of these houses and the elected candidates representing the union territories do not have the right to vote in this election. So here we can pose another question that, so in Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha and Vidhan Sabha, nominated members are denied voting right, but in union territories, the elected candidates also denied the voting right in the presidential election. Why? Because all the union territories are under the President of India. The President appoints the Governor Generals to the union territories. So the union territories which are under the control of the President have no voting right. If they allow to vote, so they will cast their votes to the candidate who is supported by the ruling party government. Therefore, the elected candidates of union territories do not have the right to vote. So these are the some reasons why the nominated members of Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha and the elected candidates of the union territories are denied the voting right. So today I will conclude here So let us see what will happen further during the election of the president in the next class. Thank you. Thank you all.